Hello ladies and gentlemen, and welcome back to Pathfinder Plays, and today is a day you have all been waiting for. Deadside has given an official release date for their game into early access. This information was released on their Discord server in the announcement tab, and they said that April 14th will be the official release of the game into early access. Until that time, they will be working closely with G-Portal to configure the server infrastructure, which will enable players the opportunity to rent a private server right after the early access release. I figure now is a good time to fill you guys in a bit on what you can expect from Deadside. Much like my Dead Matter questions series, I will be conducting a Q&A series on Deadside. This is a game that looks polished, and I have spoken with a few people who have had the opportunity to partake in the closed alpha, and they have all said they loved it. That being said, I believe in the game, I believe what they're trying to do, and who knows, maybe this will be what they say, a DayZ 2.0. Let's begin. Will there be the common voice / text chat in the lobby / game, and will there be a possibility to establish a player's cooperation in the lobby? Answer: the game will have general text chat. Voice chat will only work locally for characters in the immediate vicinity of 10 to 20 meters. As for the lobby, we are going to try to get a system that works, that allows you to cooperate with friends at server selection. Will there be anti-cheat? Yes, there will, but they can't say what kind yet. Are you planning to release the game on PS4 or Xbox? Possibly, but for now we are planning to have a PC version only. Will there be a purchase of additional content? Answer is yes, players will be able to buy some account extensions and decorative items that do not directly affect the balance of the main game. So you'll be able to buy cosmetic things like maybe some gun skins and player skins and this and that. I do wonder if the person was asking about maybe downloadable content like expansions, but they did say that you'll be able to buy some account extensions. I'm not sure what that is, so perhaps that's what they were referring to as well. Question: on what platforms is the game planned to release? And they said that now we can say for sure that Deadside will be released on Steam. The game page is already in the store. We also plan to release on Epic Games Store. Other trading platforms are not yet considered, so whichever one of those you guys prefer, it will be on both eventually. Will there be a version of the game for Mac OS? Unfortunately, no, it won't, because who the heck plays computer games on a Mac? How many players does one server support? As of right now, it's at 50 players per server, but if their software and server computing power allows them to, they will increase this number to 70 to 80 people. Which then brings on the next question: such a vast world and so few people on a server? Answer: well, first of all, we feel that when you have points of interest on a map, such as missions and green zones, etc., players can meet up at those points and there should be no problem looking for an opponent. Secondly, the world of our game is not a desert where there are only players. The game is a living organism or something like that. At least that's what we are aiming for, which means that you travel from point to point to point. You will meet hostile NPCs, which you will fight and get rewards once you loot the bodies. Finally, in the early access, not all of the territory will be available right away, because to fill up this space, we need time. The players won't be scattered all over the place. And these are all valid points. I mean, this game does aim to give you a more lively feel, where a world that is going on without your say-so. You have bandits, you have NPCs, you have cannibals all going around trying to survive and murder and eat, and you may just happen to run into them while they're doing these things. They may interfere with your quests while you're doing these. This is a PvP game with PvE elements, is a PvPvE, if you will, with survivor elements, and I think it's very unique, and I think it will be great. It reminds me a lot of Dead Matter, where their aim isn't necessarily to facilitate PvP solely as a means of entertainment, but to deliver a story and a good PvE experience, and then give you very enjoyable PvP when it comes. Will there be zombies, anomalies, and radiation in the game? Answer: we are trying to create a unique product without resorting to such old and tired cliches of the genre. We can say that there will be no zombies and anomalies because we would like our players to really feel what is happening, but at the same time we cannot fully recreate reality while making a game. It would be too difficult for our players. We want to have a nice balance and make world realistic enough and easy enough to understand. Which, that's an interesting concept. I think if you were to just summarize that, it would literally just say, no fantastical elements, it's just going to be you, other players, and realistic NPCs that you can fight if you were to come across them in a real world situation. And that's that. Question: what does survival really mean in this game? Answer: most of the players are used to seeing survival in such, quote, survival games, end quote, as the need for a character to find food and water. And yes, in Deadside, you do need to keep your thirst and hunger no lower than a certain minimum for your character to function well, but the game is not just about constantly having to find food. There is a lot more to it. That is why we focus on hardcore shooter elements with survival elements sprinkled in. Ideally, the focus of the gameplay will be aimed towards shootouts, ambushes, chases, and crafts, and not constantly hunting for food. I like that. What about clans and parties? And the answer is yes, we hope that the party system will be available right away once the game is available in early access. Here is the main idea of the party system. 1. The player should have an opportunity to mark their location of other players at any time. Show the party member's marker on players themselves and possibly the distance to a friendly player in meters. 2. Give players a way to tell who is friendly and who is not just by looking at a player, say using some friendly player marker. Now that's a very interesting concept. They said that they are planning to have a clan system later, and they'll give us more details. But that's going to be very interesting about parties. I know Dead Matter is also having debates and thoughts about how to correctly implement the party system, and we'll know about that in their next devlog, they said. But this sounds pretty simple, pretty straightforward if they can solidify it. Question: such a huge world suggests a navigation system. Do you have one? Will the map of the world be available to players? And the answer is we want our players to be able to use the map immediately and navigate the world right after they have created the character. It doesn't matter if you are in the game for the first time or you have resurrected after you died. You have a chance to understand where to go and what to do because your legend will be visible on the map. But most importantly, we want players who are in a party to be able to see each other to speed up the process of reuniting of two lonely hearts. We find that this is exactly what is missing in most of the navigational systems of survival games these days. My goodness, it sounds as if they're running for the office of survival game president. It sounds so great. How much will it cost to play the game? At the moment, we cannot tell you exactly, but most likely the price for Russia and CIS countries will be around $20. So it's not going to be that expensive comparatively to, say, DayZ, which is around $50 to $60, depending on your platform. Who is developing the game? The game is being developed by a Russian independent studio, Bad Pixel, with no publisher. And so, if you guys are noticing that while I'm reading these out, the English is kind of strange in the way they phrase things, or maybe some words are missing. That's why. They're not American or English speaking. They speak Russian as a primary language. What do you mean by hardcore, and how is it addressed in Deadside? Answer: 1. Mostly, the hardcoreness of the game is about the character's damage system. We are planning to do the damage from firearms and bladed weapons quite significant. It means that your character can die from a bullet to his head, or 1 to 3 shots to his body depending on the weapon used for causing damage and the armor if there is any. 3 to 5 hits on limbs, 2 to 3 hits with bladed weapons, again depending on exactly where it hits you. So every fight in the game will not just be another reason to have a nice shootout, but also a very serious concern for your player health. The character's parameters will be affecting the gameplay. Being tired, your pose, all of that will be affecting the accuracy of fire. Critical health will also count, not only visually, but also your accuracy of aim. Apart from that, the way firearms function when you fire them will add some hardcore elements to the game. The recoils will be quite significant, and when firing machine guns, the barrel will go up quite a bit. Naturally, such parameters such as dispersion and the kick will vary for different firearms. We have already finished working on realistic ballistic systems that will also allow penetration of thin-walled hiding places, sheet metal, shingles, I would say maybe even drywall, and that will add to the hardcoreness of the gameplay. We will demonstrate this in one of the blogs. And I think they have. Is there going to be a third-person mode? And the answer is, at the moment, you have a choice of third or first person, and you can switch between the modes. We also plan to divide servers for different types of players, the ones who prefer to play from the third person and the ones who enjoy playing from the first person. Which means on a server where you can only play on first person mode, you cannot switch your camera to third person and vice versa. Standard Deadside servers means that a player can change the camera view at any time. So that's very good to know that they're giving the server owners that kind of flexibility. And ladies and gentlemen, I'm going to end this here. I hope you enjoyed this Q&A session of the Deadside, and I hope you found some value in the information that was provided. Tell me in the comments below, how do you feel about the game? Do you think this one being released sooner is going to outdo Dead Matter? Do you think this game will be a DayZ 2.0? Or do you think it's going to create its own trajectory in the survival genre? All that being said, thank you for stopping by, and remember, if you like scares, survival, and scavenging, consider hitting that subscribe button, sharing this with your friends, and I will see you in the next one. Path out.